I bought the cheapest mini bike I could find off of Facebook Marketplace. And today, we're going to figure out if it'll run or if it's going in the scrap. Now you might be asking yourself, Foley, why'd you get a mini bike? Because 3 weeks ago, my doctor said I can't do any extreme activity. And my dumbass said, does that mean I can't dirt bike anymore? So yeah, I can't dirt bike anymore. But she never said anything about mini bikes. So a little backstory. I found this mini bike about an hour and a half from me on Marketplace for $500. Now the listing said everything worked and it ran great. I only had one picture and it was from the other side. You could probably see why. I got there and the first thing he tried to do is fire it up. Now you'll notice there's no pull start on this. So he went to use a drill on the flywheel bolt. And after about 45 minutes of swapping between an 18 mil and a 19 mil, he could not get this thing to turn over. And I'll show you why in a minute. Anyways, he'd wasted my time long enough. He was also an hour late to the meetup. So I was about to walk away, and that's when I threw out a final offer of $150 to take it from him. He was moving in a few days, so he accepted my offer, and here I am with a perfectly running mini bike with everything wrong on it. So the first thing we're going to look at addressing this mini bike is the engine. Now, there's a few problems I noticed right off the bat. First off, the flywheel bolt is completely rounded out. Second off, you'll notice a 3-inch drywall screw holding the throttle body together. And third off, you'll notice a bunch of oil underneath the engine. Now, are these things that we can all fix? Yes. But at the end of the day, we still don't know if this engine is going to run after fixing all those things. So I've got a better idea. So first up, you'll notice that I stripped a few parts off of this engine that I might want to use later. The second step to this method is just give it a swift kick and throw that in the scrap pile. Now what you're going to want to do is go to Harbor Freight and buy a brand new Predator 212 engine on sale for $109. And then we're just going to kind of take this here and put it right there. Welcome back, everyone. It's a new day. We had some new parts come in from Amazon as well as the hardware store. And this should be everything that we need to put that Predator into that mini bike. Starting off, we have 4 washers, 5/16. We have some springs here, 4 bolts. These are 5/16 by 24. They're a fine thread, and that's what's going to bolt the jack shaft plate onto the side of the Predator. We have a new centrifugal clutch here off of Amazon. The stock engine had a 5/8 shaft. This one is a 3/4 shaft. And it also came with an extra chain, which is pretty sweet. And then we have a new brake lever because ours is broken, which also came with a wrench, which is awesome. Then we have some full synthetic 10W30. The Predators don't come with oil in them. Now, typically you'd want to run a break-in oil or at least a conventional oil for the first 40-ish minutes, but I don't feel like doing that, so we're going to run this nice full synthetic. And that should be everything we need to do the swap. Before we put that nice shiny new engine in, we're going to go ahead and pressure wash this bike off and then get rid of the stuff that we don't need. This little storage tank here is completely cracked, so we're going to zip that off. And then go ahead and snip this little zip tie here so that we can get this light off and out of the way. And finally, the seat isn't even bolted down. So that one was pretty easy. Now it's ready for the wash. We got the bike all cleaned up, and in the process, I learned that this throttle cable is actually snapped off inside of here. So I got another throttle coming on the way. This kill switch we're not going to use, and this brake lever we're not going to use. So I'm just going to go ahead, strip all that off. It's finally time to unbox our new 212. I'm going to take that and get rid of it. I have no idea what that's for. And there it is. And just like that, it's in. So I got the engine in. I used the original bolts that it came with to mount the engine. Now you only want to do these hand tight because we still have to align it both with these holes as well as the chain. And now you're going to take those 5/16 by 24 thread bolts that we got earlier, throw a washer on it, and that's what mounts this jack shaft plate to the block of the engine. If you're doing this in a Coleman Minibike, the 200 series, I believe, these holes will line up perfectly with the Predator 212, so there's no need for any mounting plates. So we ran into a few problems here. We got these bolts in just fine. They were a little snug, but I was able to wiggle them in here. This Predator 212 will come with a Woodruff key in here that you'll have to tap out. I just tapped it in with a punch, and then the back came up, and I just pried it out with a screwdriver. Now you'll see this clutch here has a Woodruff key built into it, and this one slides on perfect. Now we ran into a bit of a problem, and I knew this was a possibility. I was just hoping that it wouldn't be. But this sprocket has to line up with this jack shaft sprocket perfectly. You'll notice this clutch goes in too far and it won't align. So what you have to do is put a spacer back here for this lip to sit on. That'll line it up perfectly with this sprocket back here on the jack shaft. The best way to do that, I believe you can buy adapters, but it's going to vary by what clutch you have. If I had a lathe, I would lathe a nice part for that. And I was looking around for options, wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And that's when I noticed this Predator kit comes with this wrench right here, I believe, to take the flywheel bolt off of the other side. But after some further investigation, that slips on perfectly. So this is 3/4 interior diameter. It has a little bit of a seam on it we might have to knock down just so it goes on perfectly. But my plan is to put the clutch on, align it to where it's perfect, measure that gap, and then I'm going to cut after this hole and cut out a section of this to sit behind there. Ideally, you would want to use tube that's thicker than this, but I don't have that right now, and I'm going to improvise. So I'll let you know how that goes. Alrighty, well here it is. This is my spacer that I made. What I did is cut it down on the bandsaw. I kind of honestly really eyeballed it at first. And then once I cut it, I went in with a file, made sure all the edges were smooth. If we take this, it slips on perfectly. There's a little bit of slop, but nothing to be too concerned about. It butts up against the engine really nice. We'll go ahead and throw our clutch back on. Just like that. And then what I did to kind of figure out the perfect length is I put the chain on top like this, and looking down on it from the top, I'm able to look at my spacing between the side of the chain and the side of the clutch. And I'm watching to make sure that it's not closer on this side than it is on this side, or vice versa. I also look down at the top and make sure that it looks nice and parallel. What I can also do is go ahead and take my chain and put it on temporarily here with my master link. And then if I spin this back tire, like I said, looking down into the gap, I can see if the chain is binding on the teeth anywhere. And this chain will have a little bit of play in it, like that. And so it's okay if it's not completely perfect, but you also don't want it to bind. We got that all tightened up. It looks great. And I'll just throw the cover back on this and we'll move on. I got my headlight all hooked back up here off camera. Now we're going to work on our brake line here. Just got to slide this little piece into here. And then once you got your little collar on here, I'm going to slide that assembly into our brake lever as well. And then once you got that sucked down, you just kind of grab onto the end of this cable here, pull it out. And you just got to fit it in this little notch here on top of your brake lever. I really wish I could be a YouTuber that everything goes right and I can make a perfect video, but that's not who I am. I went to go put this brake lever bracket on and found out exactly how cheap an $8 brake lever is and broke off the little mounting piece right there. So after about an hour of frustration, I was able to use the old bracket, which is actually quite a bit stronger, and put this new brake lever on it, but I had to completely grind this out and get it to mate up well. Nonetheless, we have a brake lever now. One other tip is right here, you'll see a little Phillips head screw with a spring behind it. If you go ahead and take that all the way off, that is the throttle stop screw. By taking it off, you open up the full range of the throttle. And there's that little spring and screw right there. All right, I brought it outside. We filled it up with oil and we filled it up with gas. Let's see, will this thing finally run? So what did we learn today? Well, we learned how centrifugal clutches work, and that when you slide the throttle on, it engages the clutch and the bike goes forward. Yes, I just lost my brain and thought I was starting a pressure washer. This is also why you shouldn't ride a mini bike without a throttle. I just kind of wanted to see if it would work. And well, it works. So, you live and learn, I guess. Thankfully, everything's fine. Where were you when I needed you? Were you? Well, that's a wrap on our Coleman CT200EX project with the Predator 212 swap. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's a nice, easy project, especially if you're getting into working on dirt bikes or mini bikes or trucks or whatever you're interested in. Before we end today's video, we're gonna go over how much this cost. Starting off with the mini bike, I got it off of Facebook Marketplace for $150. You can find them pretty reliably around the $300 to $400 mark that I've noticed on Marketplace. The Predator 212 we got in there is from Harbor Freight. I got it on sale for $110. The clutch to make this work cost me another $25. I had to replace both the brake assembly and the throttle on this bike because they were both broken. The brake was $9 and the throttle was $15. And lastly, just some miscellaneous hardware cost me about $5. That means our total for this mini bike build was $314. That's great. We got a brand new engine in this thing. Bike looks pretty awesome. Brand new, these things retailed for $749 from Tractor Supply. So we saved quite a bit of money and I think we got a better product. Now, could I have done this cheaper? Absolutely. I could have kept the old engine, bought a pull start for it and fixed that up. But I wanted to put a new engine into it so I didn't have to worry about any future problems. Make sure you guys subscribe and you stick around for next week's video. We have some awesome things coming. It is going to be a rowdy video. We're going to take this mini bike and go test it on some of the hardest trails that I can find in my area. Now, it's already a pretty powerful bike, and as you see, it ran away on me a few times, but I'll give you a little sneak peek. We made it quite a bit rowdier. So this thing is loud now. It makes a ton of power and it's going to be a great time. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time. This is Iron Outlaw Off-Road. See you later.